There have been some game-changing discoveries that are going to affect the Warzone meta, from secret attachments to stealth changes to statistics that you need to know about as you build your close and long-range meta loadouts. Now, a lot of people have been complaining that they don't like the long-range options outside of the Kar 98, and we've got some solutions for you here today. We're going to start with number 1, and we're going to work our way down to number 7, each one getting a little bit crazier, but make sure you may see some weapons you recognize, but there have been some huge discoveries that are going to change the way you build your weapon moving forward. Let's get on to number 1. To set the stage for all the guns that we're going to talk about today, let's take a quick look at true game data and see where the meta lies right now. So we have the DG58, which has very low recoil, but also an underwhelming time to kill now. Now, the Holger 2.6 has taken its spot in the meta, and it has more recoil, but significantly better long-range time to kill. Now, we talked about the Cast-Off 545 and the Cast-Off 7.62. Now, they have literally zero recoil, but they also have less bullet velocity and less damage, which for the certain player could be perfect, but might not be for the above average player. So we're going to X that out for right now. If you're interested in that, that'll be a previous video. You can check that out at the end of today's video. Now, let's take a look at the first gun we're going to take a look at today, and that is the BP50. People have forgotten about this gun because they've been running it as an SMG with the conversion kit, but as a main AR, it kills faster than the Holger 2.6, and especially when you factor in ADS, it kills significantly faster. So if you ever needed to run out, especially if you're playing Resurgence, and get your gun up quick, it has better sprint to fire, better ADS, and you can see here it has very comparable time to kill. And most importantly, with the loadout that we're going to show you today, it has a very straight shooting recoil pattern as well. So the BP50, even though it's been known for being an SMG, has a very simple to control straight up and down recoil, and it has basically a consistent rate. So all you need to do is just hold down, and we'll make sure we have the bots on 3 plates. Just hold down. Just hold a consistent rate down with your right thumb, and beams up close, and also has the ability to beam at long ranges as well. And I definitely think people need to be trying this out because checking all the boxes, it also has a great bullet velocity as well of 1,000 meters per second. And if you really want to get ambitious and you're confident with your recoil control, you can throw on something like the Echoless, which helps out with your firing aiming stability, or the Spirit Fire, up to you. And you'll end up with a whopping 1,250 meters per second. Just an absolute laser. Now, obviously, you do need the recoil control for it, but I really think it's something that as you play a couple rounds with it, you build that relationship and you can just smoke people crossing fields inside of big map. So I would suggest for the average person, try it out with the Zim first, but then we have the Lore heavy barrel, the high velocity, the 45 round mag, and the Moat stock. Now we, once again, need to be rocking high velocity. We could make this a less recoil gun, but we need to try to keep up with the LMGs that are currently dominating and keep that bullet velocity high, and you'll see that as a current trend. But make sure if you haven't already, take your screenshot, and if you are screenshotting, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. But before we get on to the second game-breaking weapon, we need to make sure that your game isn't breaking with the sponsor of today's video, FPS Hub. They are the best in the business when it comes to PC optimization, and I've been working with them for years. Whether you need internet optimized, whether you need audio tuned so you can hear more footsteps, or most importantly, your game is crashing or you don't feel like you're getting the frames that you should get for the expensive PC that you dropped a lot of money on. If you saw my PC settings video, you likely saw a wave of rave reviews of members of the Academy who have worked with the team over at FPS Hub, and they are the best in the business. If you work with them, you can expect higher frame rates in game, lower CPU temps, 0 crashes, and just an overall smooth gaming experience. If you want to learn more, you can check out the link down in the pinned comment or the description. You can use code Isaac for a discount. And once again, they have helped out a lot of members of the Academy. There's probably more guys down below who will vouch for their success with FPS Hub. Without further ado, let's get into the second game-breaking weapon. Number 2 is the MTZ-556, and there's a lot to consider here. Obviously, we have a good time to kill, okay? Especially when we factor in the ADS time, because as an assault rifle will vastly outperform an LMG. But there are some secret attachments that you need to know about that are going to make this a lot more convincing than you may have originally thought. Now, when we go to shoot the MTZ-556, there's 2 things you want to look at. 1, I want you to look at the left to right shimmy that it has. And 2, look at all the visual noise, the shake, the smoke, the haze, the flash, right? All that we're used to seeing kind of makes it tough to see through an iron sight build. And the recoil control actually isn't that bad. It's just up and a little shimmy to the left, to the right, and then straight up. It's pretty easy to control with the build that I've got. But here's where things get really good. If we go into the clinch barrel and we equip the aerial beam rifle skin. So yes, this is pay to win. This is the Gundam blueprint, the aerial beam rifle. look what happens to all the visual noise that we once had to look at. It's completely gone. That barrel takes away all visual noise. Combine that with the Wrathguard compensator, which does affect our damage range and bullet velocity a little bit, but it's worth it for the minus 28% horizontal recoil. Otherwise, I would just go with Cassis, but the Cassis doesn't do enough. We go Wrathguard to take away that horizontal shake. Combine those two together with high velocity, which gives us a bullet velocity of 956. I broke my PR with this weapon. This is no BS hype. I dropped 45 kills solo with this weapon. It is an absolute beast. There's a little bit of that shimmy shake at the beginning, but once you get used to that, as you're playing throughout a round, especially as you get a little bit of rotational aim assist, this gun is a problem. It kills extremely quick, I can't even say very, it has no visual recoil. And I think especially for players who are playing aggressive and are looking for something that's a little bit more mobile, this is going to be a true meta for people to rock. Now, we could get rid of the high velocity for something like a rear grip or a stock to help out with that, horizontal shake a little bit more, but it's not worth it. We get rid of that high velocity. Now we have an 800 meters per second bullet velocity. I would just go rock a cast off, because a cast off has 0 recoil and 800 meters per second. So it's not worth it for me. If we're going to have this gun be a meta contender, we need it to have higher bullet velocity. And this is the build for number 2, the MTZ 556. Now, obviously, it works best when you have on that barrel, but let's say you don't want to spend any money on the game, and I don't blame you, okay? Another option is the Holger 556. Now, the Holger 556 is very similar to the MTZ 556, but it's not as mobile. So you'll see without the ADS time considered, they're pretty much right next to each other in terms of performance. The Holger 556 isn't as mobile, so I don't push it as much as the MTZ 556, but it might actually be a little bit easier for you to control, okay? The worst thing about the Holger 556 is it has a steep and sharp climb, but with my build, that's largely gone. And the reason for that is much in the same way that we rock the Wrathguard compensator over on the MTZ, we are rocking the billeted brake, which is something that they typically use over on the Call of Duty League, because it clamps down on that vertical climb. From there, the rest is the same. Extended mag, high velocity, Bruin heavy support, long barrel, and the billeted brake makes this gun, and even though it's a 40 round, it does more damage per bullet. A very, very, very viable weapon to use for all players. I think MTZ is going to be a little bit more of an advanced player's weapon. I think even the average player can use this Holger 556 because it's all vertical recoil. So shoot at chest, climb to the head, and then it'll stay there with this billeted brake. Make sure you're taking your screenshot if you haven't already. Now, same thing holds here. We can't get rid of the high velocity because without it, we would only be at 730. So you need to rock high velocity, in my opinion, on this build. But I think this could be a great weapon. Now, as we move forward, things are going to get a little bit stranger, and there's going to be some familiar weapons that are going to look a little bit different, especially with number 4, the SVA. Hear me out on this. Our old SVA builds sucked, and I didn't realize it until we went through and did some extensive testing. But here's what I want you to look at, okay? We switch over to single fire, and I'm going to be shooting at these little dots, okay? And we're gonna see a before and after of what our fire looks like, okay? So I'm gonna shoot as close as I can to each individual dot, and I'm just gonna fire a series of bursts on these dots. Okay, notice, this gun is supposed to have 0 recoil, but we see left, right, up, right, up, left, up, right, up. And honestly, these are some of the best examples I've seen because these can go pretty freaking haywire and be all over the place, right? Just look at it. Look at how inconsistent all those are. Upright, left, up way to the left. And the reason is, and this is the traditional build that everyone was recommending, myself included, sonic suppressor, high grade, 60 round. The issue is those separation are all based on firing aiming stability. So what we do is we've created a new build that still has insane bullet velocity, still has the same damage output, but now look at the spread. Up. No strays. Because what would end up happening is you would feel like, man, the SVA is supposed to have this great time to kill. What happened? Like, it's supposed to have this great effective time to kill with 0 recoil, but I just feel like people aren't dying. What would happen is, look up on the top left where you see the accuracy. You would shoot, and you'd be like, man, I'm hitting headshots. This guy isn't dying. It's because half of your bullets were going off target. And it's not just a matter of climbing up and over someone's head. They would be going off the shoulders, etc. So here's another example. Let's say I'm just aiming at this target downrange, aiming at someone. I mean, 50 meters, that's not far away for a Warzone engagement, especially for a 0 recoil gun. I would start to spam fire, and I would look, and I'm at 75% accuracy, but my dot didn't leave his chest a single time. I'm at 57% accurate. And that's what was happening, where the SVA was like, it's supposed to feel good, but it doesn't. Now, with this build, it actually performs how we would expect it to. So if we're going to spam someone up close, we'll be 100% accuracy. Spam someone mid-range, will be 100% accuracy. And spam someone long-range, we're going to be 100% accuracy. Now, that last bullet was simply because I took an extra shot. The first bullet killed him, and the second one went behind him. But this gun is the laser we know and expect it to be because of the firing aiming stability of the build we have here. So if you have been jaded by your performance with the SVA in the past, you need to try it again with this new build in mind, because it is significantly more consistent than our previous versions. Now, what we've done is we've rocked the 60-round mag because we need max damage per mag, high velocity because we want our bullet velocity to be all the way up to 996, the precision barrel for max damage range. It also helps out with aiming idle sway and recoil control, with the massive benefit here is the smooth fire sniper stock, which I didn't even know about until I started doing some digging, and it helps out with your firing aiming stability. From there, we throw on the Zim compensator as well, which also helps out your firing aim stability. If you wanted to, you could maybe ditch the high velocity for something like the Jack Glassless, but you're only going to be at 830 meters per second. You'll have a super clean sight picture, and the Jack Glassless also helps out with firing aim stability, but you're just not going to be nearly as hit scan. In my opinion, I think you should be rocking the high velocity. You could ditch the mag maybe if you were playing solos for an optic. There's some options here where you can play around, but in my opinion, the Zim and the smooth fire are absolute necessities. And this is the build that I've built out and I'm having the most success with for a true 0 recoil SVA that doesn't have those strays going off, because you were seeing individual bursts of brah, brah, brah. When you start to multiple spray it, it just starts going all over the place. And this is a much more consistent SVA than I've ever experienced before. Make sure you're taking your screenshot. Now, at the beginning, I told you things were going to get a little bit crazy, and here we go. Okay, we found some new builds. We found some secret attachments. Now let's start talking about some weapons that you probably never considered. Okay, we've seen the MTZ-556 and the Holger. And then the BP-50 was pretty dang good, but, you know, it lacked a little bit in terms of damage per mag. What if I were to tell you that our current meta SMG actually makes for one of the best ARs that we've ever seen? Yeah. The Superi 46 not only has the time to kill to back up of being an AR, it actually has the gameplay to back it up as well. It's kind of absurd. And I've already tested this. I've already vetted this. I've dropped multiple 30 bombs with it. The SVA can be one of the best ARs in the game. This gun can do it all. We've seen the sprint build. We've seen the tac strafe build. We've seen the hip fire build. And now we've seen an AR build with minimal recoil. And you're probably like, Isaac, I don't know. That's what about bullet velocity? It's an SMG, right? There's no way it has good bullet velocity. 900 meters per second. Oh, and by the way, while it's got 900 meters per second, it also has a 250 millisecond ADS and 130 millisecond sprint of fire. So it's got SMG movement with AR recoil, with AR damage profile, with AR bullet velocity. It can do it all. It can do it all. And yeah, it somehow turns out to be just an absolute beam. Great damage per mag, minimal recoil. I've already dropped heaters with this. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why it is the way that it is, but go ahead and try it, because the way that I've been running it is I've been running it as my AR, handling big map across Urzikstan, but then I'll run it with something like a shotgun, or I'll run it with another SMG. And it's just, it is so much fun to run. And legitimately, I was clotheslining people who were using a Holger, and it was so toxic to see the reaction. So we have the Sonic Suppressor to help bring up our damage range and our bullet velocity. You honestly don't even need to run anything like a, you know, an X10 or a Sin Guard to help out with recoil control because it shoots so straight as is. We have the Heavy Barrel, which helps out loads with bullet velocity. We have the Bruin Heavy Support, well known. We have the 40-round mag to help out with our damage per mag. And then the Monolith stock helps out a lot with recoil. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a world where you could ditch the Heavy Support grip for something like High Grain. I just don't think... I think you need the recoil control out of the Bruin Heavy Support. So that's what I would suggest running. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure to take a screenshot. Try it out for yourself. I was kind of floored. But the Superi 46 makes one of the best ARs in the game right now, and you got to give it a try for yourself. Oh, and by the way, just one extra quick stat there. I'm not lying when I say it does the damage. This is the damage per mag chart. So the higher up, the more damage it does per mag. It does more damage per mag than the BP50, than the Holger 5.6, and the MTC 5.56. The only things that beat it are LMGs, which are the DG and the Holger 2.6. This is it. It's good, boys. I don't know what to tell you. When I said these loadouts were getting crazy, they're getting a little crazy. Let's move on to number 6. Well, now that we're using the Superi as an AR, we need to replace it as an SMG, and that's exactly what I did when I was dropping 30 bombs with the Superi AR. I replaced it with the Lockwood Mark II, and if you're not familiar with it, that is the akimbo marksman rifle that with the jack conversion kit turns into akimbo shotguns. And if you don't know, even if you are standing in front of someone with Superi who is shooting you full auto, with these weapons, you can fire twice and kill faster than the Superi up to 8 meters. But the thing is, they're shotguns, right? So we shoulder in and out of cover. We shoulder out of cover, boom. Shoulder out of cover, boom. And in the hands of a good player, these are so good. But not only that, they have the ability to one-shot headshot within 4.5 meters. And that happens all the time. If someone's chowing around a corner, you throw a shoulder to peek. These are so good, especially when you start throwing shoulders. So if you don't know, once again, these are the Lockwood Mark II under the marksman rifle category, and they received a stealth buff. Okay, if you had tried these in the past and they didn't feel good, what ended up happening was if you fired them at the same time, one of the shells would go on target and the other one would go kind of off to a stray, and it would feel horrible. Not anymore. They fixed it. They consistently fire in the same spot every single time. Now, don't trust whenever you shoot firing range bots. They never like accurately reflect the damage. The same thing with sniper rifles. Sometimes you'll one-shot headshot someone with a sniper and they don't die. Shotguns and snipers are kind of weird in the firing range, but trust me when I say these are meta and you can slam even the sweatiest demon who thinks they're them just by throwing a shoulder. Throwing a shoulder. It's fun. It's fun. Okay. Make sure you're taking your screenshot if you haven't already. We threw in 2 attachments here to tighten up that hip fire spread. And then there's not really any point in running ammunitions because the ammunitions suck. And if you wanted to troll, you could, because these guns don't have aim down sight. So technically you could throw on whatever freaking optic you wanted to, and it's not going to affect your movement speed or your aim down sight, but that's up to you. Okay. Make sure you take your screenshot if you haven't already. Now, we have a bonus one that I'm going to give you guys as well, okay? Now, I do want to make a quick correction. We've talked about the tier in the past. One of the things that we talked about in the tier was I said, all you need to do is 1 shot or 2 shots to the upper body, and they're dead. That's not accurate, okay? I talked to True Game Data. His site was inaccurate. He should be updating it. I was doing some of my own testing to verify these numbers. It is 180 to the chest, and then it's 120 to the rest of the body besides the head, which is 240. So what that means is 180 plus 120 is 300 dead, 300 total health. So it is 1 shot to the chest, 1 shot anywhere else on the body, or 1 shot to the head, 1 shot anywhere else on the body, or 3 shots anywhere, like 3 shots to the arm, 3 shots to the legs. But don't let that fool you, because with this fire rate, that means it kills faster than the Superi. Once again, 2 shots to the chest, or 3 shots anywhere on the body. I missed that first shot. Like, it is so dang good. And that's one of those things where, like, the bots, sometimes they're just not accurate. We were talking about with the shotgun. You can't always trust them. But it's 2 shots to the chest. If you don't believe me, we can back it up with the numbers up here on sim.gg. Putting away the Lockwood, pulling out the tier. It kills in 370 milliseconds, boys, if you hit 2 chest shots, okay? If you hit leg shots, it will still kill in 740 milliseconds. It is so good. You have to try using it, and then on average, which is basically just like 1 chest shot and 1 shot anywhere else, it'll kill in 500 milliseconds. It is so unbelievably good. If you're hitting headshots as well, it does a bunch of damage. And if you want to see the actual damage chart, this will kind of back it up. All these numbers are data mined, so for the most part, it's going to be accurate. A headshot does 240 damage. A chest shot does 180 damage. And then everywhere else is 120 damage, just like we were talking about right there. So a chest shot and then anywhere else on the body, and you can smoke people. Even if you miss a bullet, you can still kill faster than the Superi. It's a high risk, high reward gun. It's not for everyone, but if you're looking for something to change up the meta and have a good time, I've ran this with some of my buddies inside of Warzone, and it's a lot of fun. DR6 hand stop to help us move around a little bit faster. The trigger helps us fire 25% faster fire rate. Nidar, billeted break, takes away some of that sharp vertical climb that we've talked about in the past. And then obviously we need the conversion kit as well. Make sure you're taking your screenshot. If you are taking screenshots, if you've learned something new, and I have spent legitimately like dozens of hours this season alone, probably upwards of 50 hours off stream, testing, verifying all this, digging into the weeds. I have found so many crazy meta weapons outside of what I'm going to list today that are fun and quirky, but not like you need to use this, you need to try this type. And that's how I feel about all these weapons. If you've learned something new and you appreciate the effort that I put into these videos, and you appreciate that I'm not separating this into one individual gun video and I'm putting it all into one, drop a like and subscribe, okay? It helps out the channel a lot, and I really, really appreciate it, okay? Let's get on to number 7. There was a stealth buff to create one of the most unbelievably broken weapons that we've had in a long time. It is so frustrating. It is so powerful. And it's the one-shot crossbow. If you didn't realize, if you didn't hear through the grapevine, the blast cap bolts got a buff where you can shoot someone anywhere on the body and it will be a one-shot kill. Once again, firing range bots don't accurately depict it. Okay. One shot anywhere across all of Warzone at any range. You're one-hitting people, okay? Once again, the bots aren't completely accurate. If you were to chest shot one, the bot's gonna live. That's not the case. If you hit anyone with a bolt anywhere at any range in Warzone, they will die, okay? Now, it's very important. The SO Momenti says that it does not help with bolt accuracy like the Thunderbolt helps with bolt, and the Quail Bolt hurts your bolt accuracy. Actually, it doesn't even say that it hurts your accuracy. It does. It destroys it. Do not use the Quill Bolt. I've seen some people recommending that. Do not. Rock the Momenti. It helps with your bolt velocity, which is going to make it feel more hit scan, but it also helps out with your accuracy. Okay, this has been tested and vetted. It helps out with your accuracy. From there, we're going to rock the DR6 hand stop to help our, it's got a pretty slow aim down sight, so it's going to make it feel a little bit more snappy. From there, I'm so used to shooting on the Jack Glassless. I'm just used to this iron sight. Pick whatever iron sight you want. That suits your fancy. We then run the 28 strand cable. It helps out our bolt velocity to help reach our target a little bit faster. Now, you could be more accurate with the 16 strand, and 100% if you were sniping and you really wanted to hit some crazy shots, I think, and I've done testing and it definitely is more accurate, but I think you'll get more kills, and I've gotten more kills with the higher bolt velocity. So that way I don't have to leave my targets as much than with the small amount of deviation. There may be some times with the 28 strand where it'll deviate an inch or two to the left and you'll miss a shot because of it. If you rock the Quill, your shot's going to go all over the place. It sucks. Do not do it. Okay. So I bring all those together to create, unfortunately, one of the most toxic loadouts, where the crazy thing is even if you challenge someone, like I've challenged a demon with the Superi, I'll hit him with the bolt. He will kill me. But then because I go down first and then he gets down to the bolt explosion later, I finish my self-revive first and then I can thirst him. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if they're going to revert it. But in the meantime, get out there and have some fun. You've got all these kids out there just spamming the Car 98, so you might as well have some fun. And, you know, they're hitting one-shot headshots. You can hit a one-shot toe shot against them and get out there and have some fun. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of really viable stuff in here, man. You've really got to reconsider your meta, especially if you're an aggressive player. Pulling out some of these ARs could be a major game changer from the sluggish use of the DGs and the Holgers, and even pulling out something crazy aggressive like a Superi AR is so good. And then we also have the freaking pocket shotguns with the akimbos, and then the pistols as well. Like, there are so many different like meta options. I would say the pistols maybe a little bit more memey. The shotties, oh my god, they're so good. And then of course you've got some troll loadouts in here as well. There's so much value. There's so much in this video that I'm super proud of. I love all these builds. Some of them are a little bit for more aggressive, experienced players. Some of them are for more average. But there's something here for everyone, man. And I'm really happy with this video, okay? And I'm really happy with the sponsor of today's video and the sponsor of the channel, FPS Hub, okay? If you are struggling with your PC, whether it's not performing how you want, whether you want to hear more footsteps through an audio tune, whether your internet's, something's off, you're getting packet loss more consistent than already, they're chalked Call of Duty servers, packet loss issues, right? Check them out. They're so damn good at what they do. They've helped out so many members of the Academy. They have a money back guarantee, and I'm thrilled to partner by brand with them. You can check them out down in the link in the pinned comment and the description and use code Isaac for a discount. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. If you want to see full gameplay of me using these weapons and perfect refined builds throughout all of the Warzone meta, throughout all season long, check out my third channel, okay? That's where I do raw gameplay and I show you guys my perfected builds, and that's where you'll see things like me dropping 45 kills with an MTZ, me dropping 30 plus kills with a Superi AR, and also just me vibing out there. And that's where I do all my YouTube live streams as well. I multi-stream on Twitch and YouTube over on my third channel. So appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate all the support on the videos lately. They've just been doing absolutely absurd. If you're still here and you haven't dropped a like, I would really appreciate it if you do. And I will see you all on the next one.